If you are going through your first pregnancy and you have some questions, have maybe a little to no experience as to what's going on, I want to share a few of my tips on what I found through my journey that I'm still continuing to go on, and how that was for me, my experience, and how I got through it. So I'm currently 30 weeks pregnant. This will be my first child. Me and my husband are expecting in June. We're both 26 and 27, and we've just really been so excited throughout this entire pregnancy. My personal pregnancy experience has been honestly awesome. It's been great. I think there's been a lot of fears that I tried not to listen to. And I will say, biggest piece of advice is don't listen to everybody else, or at least take advice with a grain of salt. Obviously, everybody has their own experience with pregnancy, with parenthood, and sometimes a lot of that information is given to you without you really agreeing to it, or without anyone really telling you what that's like and how you should be experiencing it. I will say in the very beginning of the pregnancy, when I had first announced that I was expecting, I had a lot of women, specifically women around me, coworkers, acquaintances, things like that, who had their own advice to give me. And I really am thankful that I do have a partner that is very supportive, that's actually helped me, encourage me to do these videos, to help inspire and to help navigate this pregnancy for you all as well. But I'm very thankful for him for also being a great and huge support during this pregnancy. So with that in mind, I know everybody's experience is different, but if you are getting a lot of advice, which kind of comes with the territory, just be mindful of what people say to you and take it with a grain of salt. I know it gets really tiring. I end up putting myself on autopilot whenever I have these conversations about what's supposed to happen, what's not supposed to happen. Oh, you should get ready for this, and, wait until this happens. It's like, and it's almost too like you can't complain about anything because it's like, oh, well, just wait. That's another key term that I think a lot of people that I've seen with a lot of women, especially talking about it on social media, is the just wait, which kind of really blows my mind. It makes me tired. So like I said, I'm on autopilot during some of these conversations. I'm like, okay. And that's really it. But sometimes I also think it's too that some parents just like to give you that information, kind of like to overshare, because that was their experience, which is perfectly valid. But if that's something that you think will get into your head, try not to let that really disturb you and really kind of make you question your parenting skills. My second piece of advice is listening to your body. I would say this is specifically about your movement, your exercise, as well as your diet. I see so many programs right now, and especially when I first got pregnant, talking about food programs or diet programs, workout programs, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And another thing too is that I saw a lot of women, especially on Instagram, who were so far along, still lifting like heavy weights. They were jacked, and I was like, I don't look like that. I mean, I'll walk, I'll get the steps I need to just kind of move around. I'm still doing stretches because I want recovery to be the biggest thing that I focus on. But listen to your body. If your body's telling you that you can handle this, go for it. If your body's telling you, hey, like, I think we should maybe not go so hard today, listen to that, please. And as far as diet goes, I think that's one thing that can be really, really important and crucial to the baby's development, as well as, your own livelihood. My biggest piece of advice is eating balanced. I'm not saying that you have to eat like a raw vegetable diet and have like super high enriched nutrient food. I think that's really important. But that's not something you should stick to because some people don't find that enjoyable. Personally, I don't find that enjoyable. It's also very labor intensive. I will say half the time I wouldn't have the time to prepare like a several course or several ingredient meal that requires a lot of prep. I don't have the time for that. I'm not going to say it's not as important, but for me personally, if I can just make do with eating the foods that I relatively like to eat, that's easily accessible, like fruits and vegetables, I would go ahead and do that. But for something as simple as, packing some strawberries in your lunch, packing your grapes, packing some carrots, I'll supplement that and then just have chips and dip as my salty, crunchy food. And then usually my lunch as well is just whatever the dinner I had before, the leftovers. But I already eat balanced. I like to have a balanced plate. So I like to have my proteins, my carbs, my fats, all in perfect proportion or somewhat perfect proportion. It's not ever really mandatory. I know there's a lot of stress on what goes in the body. And I'm not a doctor, but in my opinion, as long as you're doing what you can and you're listening to your body, not being excessive in one specific area of food or one specific area of your diet, that is the biggest thing that I feel is most important. So really it is ultimately, if you can, listen to your body. I know it's a very general piece of advice, but it does go a long way. And my last piece of advice is just take it easy. I know these are like really general pieces of advice, but with the surge and influx of pregnancy advice all over the internet, I think it's hard for us to kind of go back to reality and see how our lives are very much different from what is posed on camera. Now, that's obviously funny coming from me because I'm sitting in front of a camera telling you all about this, but I feel as a creator, and it's just somebody who wants to share their experience, who looks at things in a very realistic way, trusting yourself and taking it easy is probably one of the biggest pieces of advice that I have to remind myself to do. You're creating life. It's a very laboring process. If you have gone all day, if you work or maybe you don't work, if you're constantly feeling tired, take a rest, take some sleep. People say this all the time. I don't think they say it enough, but people say this and they say, take a nap. If you're pregnant, take a nap. If you feel like you want to sleep, sleep. If you feel like you want to eat something, eat something. Never restrict yourself from doing whatever your body feels, which I guess ties into my second point. But never restrict yourself from doing whatever your body is telling you to do. I've not experienced this yet. I'm getting ready to, but I really recommend that you take things very slowly. Enjoy the days of being able to live the way that you're living. If you don't have any other responsibilities, if you're already, a parent, this advice could be, I guess, for you as well, but take it easy throughout your pregnancy. I really recommend, I like going outside and just enjoying the fresh air. It doesn't mean you have to do anything, but you could take a nice slow walk. Sometimes I'll take my dog out. She is a little bit bigger, so she does tend to, when she wants to walk out, she'll pull. But I like to enjoy some time with my dog. I like to enjoy some time by myself, just so I can kind of learn to appreciate, take things a little bit slower throughout the pregnancy. Because I know in the next few months, I will not be able to do that as freely as I'd like. It will be a learning process to kind of piece everything back together once I have my baby. So until then, I'm going to be taking it easy, and I think that every pregnant woman should as well. I think there should be time for rest, there should be time for recollection, and there should be some self-care time. I know a lot of people will get in your face about the pregnancy, ask you how it's going, and like I said, give you advice, and probably want to be around you all the time. But sometimes it's also good to have some alone time, to have some rest and recovery for yourself. So I think that is ultimately some of the best advice I could ever give you guys. It's a little general, but the whole point of this video is just to kind of give pieces of my mind to you all in hopes that you will take it with a grain of salt. This is a very wonderful journey, and it should be a very enjoyable journey for everyone involved, but especially you as the mom. I hope you all enjoyed this advice. And if there's any advice that any first time moms or even second time, third time, however, experienced moms would like to put in the comments, please do. I would love for this to be a safe space for everyone to share their advice on things to expect and how to get through it. So I hope you guys have a good one.